Hello again, everyone. I'm going to use a similar format this week to go ahead and try to skirt that 250 word suggested word limit. There was just so much to unpack in the three readings this week, and so many ideas or concepts that hit kind of close to home, or I made some personal connections with. Of course, moving from a mostly, as an understatement, mostly white area in Colorado to Beijing, China, and experiencing this big cultural shift has caused me to be reflective on a lot of my practices, and also traveling the world and seeing some other cultures and some other things has again furthered my reflection. And this idea of whiteness kind of helps give me something to conceptualize what I found uncomfortable about teaching and working in America as it pertained to race, or the discussions I have with my friends about systematic racism, mostly because a lot of them don't believe it exists. They believe that racism is kind of solved in the US, and I'm not sure why they believe that. One of the arguments made, or points made in one of the articles was, well, we had a black president, so now we're good, right? That's the same argument. I have a black friend, so I'm not racist. I have a black friend, so of course it's difficult to have these conversations with people you like and people you enjoy spending time with, but you just wholeheartedly disagree with some of the ideas that they have. So that's really something difficult. The other thing I want to talk about in one of the articles was this idea of an American dialect or a British dialect being um, higher level, I guess you would say, held at a higher esteem than other accented English dialects. And that's something my wife and I talk about on a regular basis. My wife is Chinese born and Chinese raised and Chinese educated, lived in China most of her life. Um, and she is self-taught English. I mean, there were the courses, the mandatory courses growing up, but she didn't take it in university or anything like that. So she was kind of self-learned English, and we talk about her accent quite a bit and how she wants to change it and work on it, and how her accent is different than others. I mean, she's even in a WeChat group where there's an accent specialist that helps get rid of the Chinese in their accent, which I find, I don't unnecessary, I guess, in my view. I like the way that she speaks. I like her accent. It's not hard to understand. It doesn't make her seem less intelligent or less um, useful, I guess would be the way to put it. But I do see that there's a bias towards that. I mean, if you look within America and or even Canada, let's go to Canada for example. Somebody with a Newfoundland accent is often their ideas are often disconsidered straight away, or um, absorbed with a filter, I guess, as opposed to somebody, with British Columbia who has very little accent, or somebody who's from Calgary and has a bit of a southern twang in their accent, or even somebody who's comes up with a French Canadian accent. That there's a distinction between the different accents, and then anytime there's a distinction, a clear, hard distinction, there's inherently this sense of discrimination. The last thing that I want to talk about, I know it's already at 5 minutes, but uh, in light of what's happened in America last night, as I'm recording this, is a terrible thing where Asian women were targeted in Georgia, and having an Asian wife and a half Asian son, um, being American makes me really uncomfortable to go back. And it's mostly not these macroaggressions, because those are things that we can overcome. It's the microaggressions that cut the deepest, because they're targeted, they're direct, they're they're specific to you, and that's very difficult. And with the prevalency of a particular political power using terms like China virus or Kung flu, um, it was bound to lead to something like this. And I think that's what makes microaggression so difficult, is they seem so small. Oh, he's just making a joke. He's just being funny. He's just being a racist, is what it is. And it's very difficult to separate the two. And it's very difficult for me to think, I can't go home. I can't take my family home. I'm not going to put my wife through that. Um, Although my friends are good people and they would accept her with open arms, not everybody is my friend. And that's the culture and the climate that we live in. Is I can't take my family home. I'm at least worried to, because I don't want them to go through that. I don't want them to experience that. And that's a reality that we need to face. And without the discussions, without challenging traditions, and not making America great again, but making America better from where we are, um, it is something that we should be doing. Although it's very difficult to challenge somebody to be self-reflective, and things that have been considered acceptable in the past may not be acceptable anymore. And not a lot of people want to do that. And that's what makes progression so difficult, but so rewarding. So, again, like I said, a lot of things spoke to me in this. I apologize. It's now 7 minutes in, but that's how I feel, and that's where I'm at. And a lot of important readings. So, thanks for listening if you made it all the way through.